If there is a lesson to be learned from the Japanese internment, or the Holocaust, or any subjugation, internment, or genocide of minority, it's that none of these examples are carried out solely by a handful of self-serving men. They were carried out with the consent of thousands of otherwise good people, whose non-involvement made them complicit in an atrocious infringement on human rights. In order to convince good people to deprive others of their rights, you have to make good people think it's for their own protection, that their fear is rational and thus their actions are justified. If we begin with this belief that all evil is done by people who believe they are doing good, at some point we have to look in the mirror and ask what our own role is in the perpetuation of racism and injustice in the United States. In January of 1838, President Abraham Lincoln gave a speech to a group of young men at the Lyceum in Springfield, Illinois, on the perpetuation of our institutions. He said, in essence, the end of our republic would never come from a foreign attack. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined could not, by force, take us. If it ever reaches us, it will spring up from amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and its finisher. As a nation of free people, we must either live through all time or die by suicide. Both politically and socially, we will always be at a crossroads, a decision place where political challenges and personal involvement in our country will test us. Threatening conditions of racism, the politics of fear, and the failure of political leadership, along with a flagrant appetite for power and influence, will always be at hand and will either make us a nation of grateful immigrant descendants or break us as a failed democratic experiment. Our first president, George Washington, expressed genuine concern that the alternate domination of one political party over another, allowing one party to enjoy temporary power over the government, would be used to obtain revenge on the other. Washington understood that if a wise people did not do their duty to discourage and restrain the overzealous development of political parties, it would be the end of America and the Constitution. For Washington, as Constitutional Convention President and later President of the United States, his most important role was to create an atmosphere that would allow convention members, framers of our Constitution, to reach the difficult compromises necessary to create a bold new government. Awareness, social consciousness, responsibility, and most importantly, involvement is what the framers of the Constitution called for when they gave us "We the People," the challenge, responsibility, and privilege to use our commitment and creativity to continue the work of forming a more perfect union. This begins with each of us using our voice to vote in our elections and actively involving ourselves in the legislative process. It begins with looking inward to explore the ways we unconsciously perpetuate and participate in various kinds of racism and injustice. And it begins with recognizing that unlearning deeply rooted associations and stereotypes is an ongoing process of reprogramming our brains to be less afraid, more like an ongoing process of brushing our teeth rather than pulling out a tooth and thinking the work is done. The notion of being a responsible citizen doesn't just begin and end at the ballot box. Responsible citizenry includes how we work for justice in our personal lives, at the office, in our schools, in our children's schools, and in our local communities. Our choice and our challenge today is to further the Constitution's promise by engaging our talents, our hard work, our creativity, and our imaginations, whatever it takes, to reinvent ourselves and our country. This isn't the time for business as usual. This is the time for each of us to involve ourselves, standing up for what we believe in, working diligently and purposefully to make it happen. Our families are counting on it. Our neighbors are counting on it. And our country is counting on it.